Outside the Red Box, insights into global research equipment distribution. Welcome to the Outside the Red Box podcast, your go-to podcast for insights on growing and scaling life science brands globally. Brought to you by Redbox Direct, we specialize in outsourced sales, distribution, and manufacturing for scientific instruments, with over 20 years of hands-on experience. Let's get started with today's episode.
You know, you have definitely been there. You are on a video call, right? And the tech is just absolutely flawless, crystal clear video, zero audio lag. I mean, everything is running perfectly.
Yeah, but you still feel completely disconnected from the person on the other screen.
Exactly. It is this creeping sensation where, like, you're talking and they are nodding, but the message just is not landing. So today we are doing a deep dive into why perfectly functioning software still leaves us feeling like we're talking to a book wall. And we'll be using some brilliant insights from an article by Rory Gagan to figure out how to fix this hidden cost of virtual meetings.
Right, because the friction here isn't technical at all. I mean, it is entirely behavioral. In a physical room, we rely so heavily on subconscious body language.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, if a client is confused or maybe disagrees with a complex point, they rarely interrupt the meeting to announce that they don't understand. Because, that risks looking unintelligent or it sparks conflict, which most professionals just naturally avoid. So instead, they communicate physically, they lean back, or they fold their arms, or their eyes just start to wander off.
And in person, you pick up on those micro cues instantly. I mean, it's like driving with a perfectly clean windshield. But on video, it is like the software effectively just muds over those subtle physical signals.
Yeah, you are totally blind to the little red flags.
Exactly, meaning you don't even realize you've lost your audience until the very end of the presentation. And by then, well, it is way too late to reverse course.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Because the medium just strips away that immediate feedback loop. We end up plowing ahead while the listener is left, miles behind.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But since we can't just abandon video conferencing, we basically have to change our behavior to compensate for the software's structural blind spots.
So what does that actually look like in practice? Like, especially if you were trying to explain something really complex, maybe a technical sales pitch where reading the room is just absolutely critical.
Well, it starts with reclaiming your visual real estate. When you share a screen on most platforms, you know how the software automatically shrinks the audience's faces into these tiny compressed thumbnails?
Oh, yeah, you're just looking at little postage stamps?
Exactly. You cannot read a subtle micro-expression on a 1-inch square. So a proactive fix is to forcefully manage the tech. You should always split the screen to keep faces prominent.
Right.
Or, better yet, run a dual monitor setup where you literally dedicate one entire screen exclusively to your audience.
So you aren't just staring at your own slide deck while talking into the void. You are physically building an environment that forces you to prioritize human feedback over, the presentation material itself.
Exactly. But seeing them is only the first step. You also have to force verbal checkpoints to replace the physical ones you've lost.
Okay, what do you mean by force?
Well, instead of waiting for the end of a slide deck, you pause frequently with highly specific, open-ended questions. So asking things like, am I going too fast? Or maybe, can you see this workflow fitting into your lab's current process?
Wait, let me push back on that a second. If I am leading a high-stakes pitch, right, and I constantly stop to ask, am I explaining this poorly? Or doesn't that risk making me sound completely insecure? Like I don't actually know my own material.
I mean, I get that. It might feel really uncomfortable, but it is actually a highly strategic psychological move.
Really? How so?
Think about the barrier to entry for speaking up on a video call. It takes actual physical effort to find the unmute button, interrupt the audio stream, and admit you are lost.
Yeah, that is a terrifying button to press sometime.
Right, so by preemptively stating at the beginning of a call, hey, please interrupt me. I'm not always great at explaining things over video. You drastically lower the stakes for the listener.
Oh, wow. So you are actively shifting the blame there.
Exactly. You are removing the listener's fear of looking unintelligent and placing the blame for any confusion squarely on the medium itself.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, you are creating a safe space for them to admit they are lost without, losing face.
So basically, we have to actively ask for the feedback our eyes use to just gather automatically. We are taking natural, unspoken social dynamics and dragging them into the conscious, intentional light.
Yes. Because knowledge really only becomes valuable when we apply it, right? And the application here is intentional over-communication.
Absolutely.
But, this adaptation actually points to a much larger question for you to consider long after this deep dive is over.
Okay, lay it on me.
Well, if we spend years forcing these hyper-explicit virtual habits, so constantly pausing, explicitly asking for emotional reads, preemptively apologizing for the medium, how might that eventually rewire the way we interact with each other in the physical world?
Oh, that is wild to think about. Like, are we going to start demanding those same verbal checkpoints in person even when we don't actually need them anymore?
Exactly.
Well, that is definitely a fascinating behavioral shift to watch out for the next time you log into a meeting. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we will catch you next time.